Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. So I'm in the greenhouse, I'm in my garden. So if you followed me on Instagram, you'll have seen the last few weeks I have been totally rearranging my garden. I had this mad idea to move a couple of my raised beds so they're all together, thinking it would only be a couple of hours, and in fact it took about 8 days. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of what I've done. So first things first, before I do any sewing, I thought I would show you what I've done with my garden. So if you remember, I have my pergola that my son built me last year, my little seating area, and I used to have my 2 cream metal aluminium raised beds in this section here, but I was never really happy with them being there because I used to have the other 2. Let me just swing round. The other 2 were like kind of over there. So I always felt as if the garden, the kitchen garden kind of thing, was split. So I just had this mad idea to move the 2 beds from this section, then create a nice secret sitting area. I don't know why I call it secret because there's nothing secret about it, but me and Geordie, it's going to be a little secret sitting area for me and Geordie, and Primrose and Poppy, but they never bother. It's mainly me and Geordie. So that was the idea. So I moved those 2 raised beds, thinking it would take me only, seriously, a couple of hours of work. Well, in fact, it took, like I said in the intro, about 8 days. But it's keeping me busy, it's keeping my mind active, so I suppose it's good in a way. So once I lifted those 2 beds up, I was left with like soil, obviously, mounds and mounds of soil. I've still got a little bit left over in that bucket there, and it's still piled a little bit too high, this section here. My mum's got some, I've given her a wheelbarrow full, and she's going to get this extra mounded bit as well. She wants that, so that'll be going in the wheelbarrow and she'll be getting that. So I was left with this area. So what I did was I got some reclaimed bricks. They are bricks that have been knocked down from old houses, old warehouses, old buildings, and you just go to your brick merchant, your builder's merchant, and if you ask for reclaimed bricks, you'll get these old bricks. Some of them are chipped, some of them have still got paint on them. I love them. They've just got much more character than a normal brick. So the majority of my garden I have used reclaimed bricks, so obviously thought I'll just keep on using some more of those bricks. So this was my little flower bed here at the side of my little sitting area, so I thought, well, I'll like mirror that over here. So that's what I did. So I got some more bricks, and really I could do with another row of bricks there to keep the soil in, but it's okay for the moment. So I've got like another bed area there, and I've gone around the back, edged in bricks to mirror this side. And now I can get to the back here. It was always full of weeds because the raised beds were in the way, and there was a nettle growing. There still is a nettle growing. I thought I got it out, but there it is. But at least I can get in now, and I've moved, God bless him, John's hydrangea. I put that there next to his cherry tree, which we planted last year. He loved the hydrangeas, so I put that there next to his cherry tree. So hopefully I haven't hurt it or anything. It looks okay. I moved it a good week ago, and it looks like it's been transplanted okay. And then I've just had to basically borrow from Peter to pay Paul around the garden to start putting plants in. So that's why it's really, really sparse, because obviously I didn't want to buy any more plants because the garden is full of plants. I just need to have a go at propagating and transplanting, and then grow some more for next year. So I've got some daffodil bulbs, tulip bulbs in the pots with soil, hopefully for a little bit of spring colour, but I'm not sure whether they're going to work because they're from last year. I forgot to use them, and they were very dried up when I planted them, but fingers crossed I might get some success. So now I've got this gorgeous gravel seating area. I'm just waiting for my chair to come. I've just ordered a Adirondack chair, but a single one on its own. I'll pop some pictures of the one. I think it's probably on its way from China. It's probably in the South China Seas as we speak, off Amazon. It hasn't arrived yet, so when that comes, that's going to go here. And I've got a lovely parasol base, much smaller than the cantilever one I had. It was far too big for me. I just couldn't get it up. I just don't have the strength to like crank it up and crank it down, and it was really big. And so that I sold at a marketplace, and I got a much smaller parasol. So now I've got this lovely area. Let's see, bucket of soil. And I had to get some more pea gravel. I had to get 10 bags in the end. I got 5, it was nowhere near enough, so I got 10 bags of pea gravel and just put some garden liner underneath for weeds and pop the gravel down. So that's going to be another seating area. And so I can't wait for next spring, summer, parasol up in this corner of the garden, and then obviously my pots hopefully be all full, and this area will have lots of plants in it, hopefully. But then just swing around and show you what I've done. I'm so chuffed really, because everything in the garden I have grown from seed, apart from the trees. So I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. So it's really taken shape. I wanted that cottage garden effect, and I think I'm getting there. Some gorgeous plants I put in, and really pleased how they turned out. I mean, I've grown those echinacea, there's verbena there, and penstemon. Absolutely love this plant that I've never grown before, grew from seed. It's nearly finished now. This is ceranth, absolutely gorgeous. So I've got about 6 ceranth growing along here, and it has a purple flower, but the flower's nearly done now. But the bees, the pollinators, absolutely love that plant. Busy, busy, busy all day long. So obviously I first of all did this path. I split this bed. This bed was one big bed, and it was far too big. I could never get into the middle because it was too deep to get in and weed, so I'd have to stand on the mud and stand on plants, and then it used to put me off, so I never weeded it. And I just thought, no, I need a garden that I can enjoy but maintain. So I had this idea before I did this section. So I thought I'd have this idea, split the bed in 2, put a path in, and then I've got 2 manageable beds. Now this only took me, believe me, it took me about 2 to 3 hours to do. All I did was, there was a row of paving stones here, so I lifted the paving stones up. My mum's got them now, so her patio's bigger, my patio's got smaller, and moved the bricks, because the row of bricks was there, so I just moved the bricks across, and just put them down. And then any plant that was in this section here, I just lifted up and moved, and created the path, and then just put the bricks. And now I've got this gorgeous gravel path. I'd love maybe next year to put 2 arches, along here and here, and maybe grow something not too heavy. I'd love a rose, but roses are heavy, and the arches I've been looking at on Amazon are just like the lightweight ones. So I was thinking maybe clematis or honeysuckle or jasmine, something like that. Maybe next year, sweet peas to grow up, but that's for next year. But I love this, how it's turned out. Gorgeous. And I love the sound of the gravel. I love the sound of this gravel. So I come out here in the morning with the cats and have my cup of tea, and I just walk around and then just totally enjoy it. So I've got a couple of bird baths, and obviously my greenhouse, and then I've got the summer house. So then I just move this tripod. After I did the path, I thought, right, I'm going to move the beds. So originally I moved the beds. I had the 4 beds all the way along there, and I just wasn't feeling it. It just looked like 4 massive beds all in a row. It just, you know when you know it's right and you know when you know it's wrong? Well, I just thought, no, it's not right. It's not what I want. My mum was going, yeah, it looks nice. And no, it's not what I want, Mum. The bed's too big for me. I'm not going to be growing loads and loads of veg. I'm just not going to do it. I'd rather have smaller raised beds and maybe enjoy more flowers. So I then thought, right, I'll make the raised bed smaller. These raised beds you can make into 4 different sizes. So I made them into the square, still wasn't feeling it. And then I've made it into a 5th size. So I'm not even sure if the website realises you can actually make it into these little dinky size. I absolutely love this size, perfect for me. So I first of all had them running that way, didn't like it, so by which time I'd already put soil in, so I had to move the soil again. Because all I seemed to do for 8 days was move soil from A to B, to C to D, back to A again. And me being a perfectionist, it had to be right, but I'm glad I persevered and did what I wanted. I wasn't going to compromise. There's no point in compromising, because if you're not happy with something, then it's just going to bug you until it's right. So I just thought, no, I want to do it right, and I've got plenty of time to be doing it, so that's what I did. So I turned them round, made them tiny, turned them round, and I put them like so, and that urn I put in the middle, and then I made 2 more beds with the bricks. I ran out of bricks, I had to go and get another 27 reclaimed bricks, so you can see what I mean by paint. So the history of them, I think, is amazing, because you don't know what building they've come from. Was it a terraced house? Was it a warehouse? I mean, you can see the paint. I think it's just, I just love the rustic look of them, and I took them all the way around the back. So I created a nice border at the back. Originally I had the gravel going right up to the fence. Didn't like it. It looked far too sterile, too masculine. I don't know what it was. So I thought, no, I'm going to soften it all and make this border around the back. The bricks are just literally sat on the ground, and I've tried to level them, but I wasn't overly fussy with leveling them because I wanted it to be rustic. And it's got liner down, and obviously the gravel. So I've got the 4 beds, and then I put my urn here, which is it's just plastic, but it looks like stone. My neighbour from across the road, Norman, gave me it last year, but it was white. It was far too white, so I was going to get a tin of spray and spray paint it, but the cost of the spray paint was £14. Then you needed a primer because it's plastic, and that was £14. And I just thought, £28. So I just got some mud on my gardening gloves, literally wet mud, and rubbed in with my glove, rubbed right in, and now it looks distressed and old. And I've hose piped it, and the mud hasn't washed off. And if it does, I'll just add more mud. So I'm quite pleased with that now. So it doesn't look white and plasticky anymore. It looks quite good. And the beds are all empty. There's nothing in the beds. And I'm going to have flower beds, I think, in the spring. So I'm going to probably put some dahlias in, meadow flowers. I very much doubt I'll be growing any veg next year. We shall see. And obviously I've got to fill up the borders now. So some things have been transplanted and look okay. The coleus looks okay. That salvia doesn't look okay, but hopefully it'll come back. I think that might be a weed put in there. It doesn't look like a weed, but I have a feeling it could well be a weed. And then I've got a shrub that turns golden, orange, and then red. It's a beautiful shrub, so I put that in. Delphiniums, larkspur, foxgloves, that type of thing, echinaceas along there. So if we span around from the back, I'm right at the back now, and I can show you how it looks. I'm so pleased with it. It's just manageable for me. The beds are much smaller. I can get to them, walk around them. I've still got, garden beds. I've got borders, and everything is manageable. I can just get to everything now. If I need to weed, all I have to do is walk and pull out the weeds in between. I can get to both beds. So I'm really pleased. Just waiting for my chair to come, and that will finish that. So yeah, so let me know what you think of my garden. Like I say, I'm not a gardener at all. I just get an idea in my head and follow it through and try and bring it to life. And if it's not right, then I'll keep on going till it is right. And I think a garden is like a work in progress. So I'm always going to be tweaking, moving things about. But I'm loving how my pergola is starting to get covered with the potato vine, and the jasmine is going up there now. So hopefully next year I can train it a bit more. It's got a little bit unwieldy at the top. I need to get the ladders and train it to come further over. It now seems to be clumping, but that's something to work on. And yeah, so I'll just show you what it looks like from the seating area. I'm also going to make some fresh bunting because the bunting is all faded from the sun this year. If we just turn around, and I'll show you from this side of the garden how it looks. And then it's down the side. And I just want to show you John's pear tree, bless him. We planted the cherry tree and the pear tree last year, and it's got pears on it. Well, it did have pears on it. Oh, it did have a pear on it. The pear's fallen off. He would have been absolutely chuffed to bits with that. Bless him. So that is my mini garden tour, my little overhaul, my garden makeover for 2023. Really pleased with how it's turned out. It was a little bit of a longer project than I'd anticipated, but that's always the case with me. But I'm glad I stuck with it and persevered and moved those ginormous mounds of soil backwards and forwards. It was well worth it because now I've got a garden that I can access, easily manage, easily weed, and most importantly of all, sit and enjoy it. And let's hope I have another successful growing year next year, because as I say, everything in the garden I grew, well, 98% I grew from seeds. So let's hope I can continue to grow and nurture my garden next year. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I shall see you on the next one. Bye for now.